AI is going to tell me the synthesized data.
Mhm.
I can ask AI to give me supporting data by chatting with it, right? Say like, okay, like why is it 92%? Like what's going on? What are some of the trends that you're seeing? What actions do you recommend that I take on to resolve?
I'm sure it'll probably do a better job than you at some point of, like,
Yeah.
pulling all that information
Yeah.
from different sources right together.
Welcome to Tokimeki podcast episode. And today I want to talk about how AI is going to be the new UI.
Oh, user experience?
So user experience will be UX, and I guess UI,
Oh,
UX.
user
Yeah,
interface,
user
yeah.
interface. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think both are actually included.
Uh-huh.
And I want to talk about that because a lot of businesses create a lot of dashboards, which is a form of UI.
Mhm, mhm.
And those dashboards are important to display things like KPI, right? What is that? Key performance indicator.
Mhm, mhm.
And those could be like, I don't know, the client happiness score based on NPS score, or it could be jobs being closed within last like month, the rate of jobs
Oh.
successfully done.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So it could, for example, let's pick an industry like maybe you are in the manufacturing industry, then you probably care about like maybe rates of defects or rates of delivering things on time, rates of number of items shipped
Mhm.
on time. Or if you're maybe in like a digital business, I work for a consulting company. And by the way, if you if you don't know me, my name is Elisha, and I work at a consulting company, and I'm a software director.
Mhm, mhm.
So the KPIs would be things like, are client happy? Are we marching towards the deadline of the project and completing work on time? Are we utilizing resources? Like we want to make sure everyone is being utilized to work on a project and
Mhm.
not sitting on the bench. And we
Yeah.
call it utilization rate.
Right, right. Does everyone have work to
Yeah.
do? Yeah.
And there's also revenue and loss and profit, right? So maybe we quote for a like $100,000 project.
Mhm.
Did we go over or did we come under? Because you have to factor in how much overhead there is to the cost of running project. So all these are like a KPIs and numbers that we all need to share and be able to look at high level, right? Because that's the only way we know like, are we doing a good job or are we not doing such a good job?
Mhm, mhm.
And companies solve it by collecting the data from multiple places, just like many businesses, a lot of them do, including us, have lots of spreadsheets, hundreds of spreadsheets that someone creates somewhere. We integrate with a lot of systems out there, like maybe
Mhm.
we use accounting software, maybe we use like a client management CRM software here, maybe we're invoicing client using another financial tool.
Mhm.
So you need to have all these information coming to a single location for you to even have a visibility of like at high level, are we doing a good job or not?
Yeah, yeah, you
Right.
can look at the health of everything in one place, right? In the
Yeah.
dashboard,
Yeah.
right.
And as a consulting company and as a software engineering um, arms that provide service to clients, we would often come in and assess the situation and then build a dashboard
Mhm.
that connects all the data sources. And that's where like engineering knowledge is needed to connect to the data from one source. Maybe Salesforce has an API or Smartsheet has another data integration. And we would put all the information in one, and they will work with the design team to surface the experience and UI. What's happening with the AI is that possibly those type of work might be a good way to prepare for AI to do the job of answering
Mm.
if your business is doing a great job or not
Mm.
versus
Mhm.
building like yet another dashboard
Mm.
to answer the question.
Uh-huh.
Because Now AI can actually give you actionable insights. AI can actually dig deeper with the
Yeah.
information. So you might say KPI, let's say like you're doing not so great job. Your customer satisfaction rate is 92%. That's not acceptable because we need to meet, let's say, minimum 95% of satisfaction. Okay, why is it 92%? When you have a dashboard, you might be able to create like a tooltip that says, this number is calculated from this NPS score taken by, this tool and averages out for the last 12 month or something, right? Like it doesn't actually tell
Mhm.
me why it's 92%. It tells me how we arrived to the number by using this formula.
Mhm, mhm.
So what if I want to dig deeper into, okay, why are we seeing lower number than before? Is there any trend that is
Okay.
affecting this number? Like,
Yeah.
are customers not satisfied because we're late on delivery on time?
Mhm, mhm.
Or is it because like we have some broken process where customers are feeling like they're not actually getting what they paid for in
Mm.
the results? So like there's a time component, there's like a the value received component. Traditional dashboards are not ready to answer those questions.
Mhm.
It's not ready to answer like, oh, here are the patterns and trend we see. They can tell you like maybe like based on the numbers, like, hey, here's the source of the information. You go look at it. Well, I just want to know like what I need to do.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
I want you to tell me what I need to improve on so that I can bring the good results as opposed to like, okay, now I need to double click into the data source and then like I don't understand how to read this data. It's
Mm.
overwhelming.
Right.
And that's where my case is coming from saying I think the future of AI is that it would replace a UI, as in, I'm no longer looking at spreadsheets of data. AI is going to tell me the synthesized data.
Mhm.
I can ask AI to give me supporting data by chatting with it, right? Say like, okay, like why is it 92%? Like what's going on? What are some of the trends that you're seeing? What actions do you recommend that I take on to resolve? And those are the kind of UI that you're no longer building because AI will just bring up the number.
Mhm, mhm.
Does it make sense as me making a case for why
Mhm.
the AI might be the new UI? And this is more like, I guess, like a discussion piece
Mhm.
or open ended thing, like where I have no necessary goal that I'm driving towards, but like this is my observation
Mhm,
that I've been
mhm.
having recently.
That's gonna replace your UI.
Mm.
That would be great, honestly. I think a lot of aspects of any role, like when I used to work full time in tech, I mean, even now doing social media marketing as a freelancer and doing it for businesses is the data analysis piece of it. Like, there's an expectation that you know how to analyze and synthesize information, which is definitely an important skill to have. But then I think with AI, I think one of the really like truly amazing things that it can do is really take off the like time and like all the brain power and energy to analyze the data and make it into insights that the insights are super important, but then if you have to pour so much like time and energy in analyzing the data, if AI can just do that for you, especially if that's not something you particularly are great at, and humans can make errors. And not to say AI doesn't make errors, but it could probably be just as good as thinking through it, especially, as we think about how AI is just becoming more and more, it's stronger. It's like evolving
Yeah,
too, like with more advanced reasoning,
probably
right?
becoming
Like that you
smarter. Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, honestly, like I would not be offended if AI was like a better data analyzer than me because I'm not even that great at math, to be honest. Like, I think you can probably analyze better than me. So if it could take over the job of like looking at a spreadsheet and telling me, okay, this is what you need to hit your KPIs, this is what you need to focus on. maybe like a 3-month plan, 6-month plan, that would be good. I think a big thing for me is if it can visualize to like create like graphs or create like pie charts of like different aspects so I can look at it because I'm a very visual person. Like if AI can do that, then it would be like perfect if it could
Mm. Yeah.
replace the UI in
Yeah.
that
Like
way.
to backtrack, you
Yeah.
are your social media, um, let's say like marketing
Like a strategist, but
strategist.
I do
Yeah.
content creation, yeah,
Yeah.
for different clients in different industries, yeah.
Yeah. And when you create a content or when you do a strategy session, the numbers matter, right? Because as you create content for a client and they post it and then they get results, and then you have to like synthesize, like, okay, you have like a follower growth year over year or like month over month, and
Mhm.
then it will show you like, okay, numbers are going up, but that alone doesn't tell you like, am I doing a good job, or like is client doing a good job, or client wants to ask you a question about like, what does that mean, like are we growing too slow, or is this
Mm.
like just about what we expect? And let's say for some reason, right, like maybe when things are good, maybe there's less question of that, but let's say like something happened where like last month the follower growth wasn't as great, or the impressions of the posts were not as good as like maybe previous month.
Yeah.
And no matter what kind of dashboards you put together, it will never answer why that is, right? It will tell
Mhm.
you like the trend is down. That's a KPI dashboard that you typically would put together. But then why? Now you have to double click into analyzing every single content that you posted,
Mhm.
right? It could be because like maybe as an industry there have been like even bigger news happening in the industry, and it's like, you could launch your product at a wrong timing because someone else could be launching even more of a bigger product at the same time, like Apple announcing something unexpected,
Oh,
and
and
and,
yeah,
and the
kind of
world is
like
taken by that news, right?
right.
It's like wrong
They
timing.
take away the limelight from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like maybe some sad events happen, and it's like, well, you shouldn't be posting about your business when this sad news is happening in this industry. Like it's like
Yeah.
wrong timing, but like you may or may not be aware of it. You can't find the relationship between the numbers going up and down, and that's when AI can tell you, hopefully, right, right. And this is not like, oh, you just turn on the toggle and then AI can tell you. Like a lot of work goes into letting AI have enough context to tell you why.
Mhm.
But for sure, what I can say is no matter how good of a dashboard you put together, when human construct those dashboard and have a finite formula where like this plus this plus this divided by something never tells you why something is happening,
Oh,
right?
okay, right, right, right. That's true, right, there's a lot of background behind that, so then AI can pull that together, right, based on,
Yep.
like, if this is increasing, why is it increasing? Then AI can, like I'm sure it'll probably do a better job than you at some point of, like,
Yeah.
pulling all that information
Yeah.
from different sources, right, together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's take an example for Spain. Like let's say maybe your client has tried a new format of a content that they
Mhm.
never done before. And if you give an AI access to your content repository, whether it's maybe a transcript, or I think in the future it's really becoming easier for AI to also consume a video, to
Oh.
even analyze what's going on. I think that's still more the future because I think it still takes a lot of computational power to do it and might not be available for you to just do that. But
Like, for the layman, the
yeah,
normal
yeah,
people?
it
Yeah.
might cost a lot of money because it has to analyze frame by frame what's going on,
That's true,
right?
yeah.
So that, let's say that's more of a future state, but let's say let's not do the video. So let's do a post. You're helping client craft a social media post on Facebook.
Yeah, like a or yeah, like a carousel post or
Carousel.
something on
Yep.
Instagram.
And maybe client tried something new, and then that's why some number changed. And if you would let AI have repositories of your content, then AI can find a pattern. Like, oh, there seems to be some correlation to the number changing to the content you've been posting, and there's some change you don't get that by putting together a dashboard. I keep coming back to this idea where you can put dashboards that gives you overall health, but if you stop there, it doesn't really give you the story of how you got to the number. And traditionally, that's where you hire someone like you to come in and say, "Hey, can you look at all the posts and tell me the pattern you see?"
Mhm.
And that might be the type of work like you may or may not enjoy. Maybe it's like a part of like, let's review this together, and maybe that's part of the service that you charge. But sometimes that's not something that it's always possible. Like when I work with a client, when we provide a solution and then create a dashboard and hand it off, like they're there on their own from there on. Like I'm not gonna stay in the business to like analyze their data and then tell you every month like what's going on. That's not my job as a system engineer, right? That might be more like a consultant or internal role,
Mhm.
right? There's always someone internal who's looking at the health of the business, and maybe it'll take up their time, big
Mhm.
chunk of their time to analyze what's going on,
Right.
which is still important, but they probably have a million other things that they have to do
Right,
in the
right,
business,
right.
right?
If something can be running, right, like AI in the background while you're completing other tasks, you're gonna get more done,
Yep,
be more efficient,
yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
And I'm using dashboard as an example, but I think this would apply to the other parts of day-to-day operation where previously you might have seen lots of spreadsheets that you have to fill, but we might be approaching a world where you just tell AI like, "Hey, can you record the fact that this thing happened?" And then it will fill out the spreadsheet for you.
Yeah.
And you're just using AI as a medium to enter the data and also pull out the insight out of the data.
Mhm, mhm.
So you're no longer interfacing with the underlying data on a spreadsheet. You're just interfacing with the
Yeah.
AI.
I think what could be really helpful too is, you know how like the C-suite or executives, different teams like senior managers have to like report to them, like they have like these like I don't know, maybe a QBR or something, a
Mm.
quarterly business review, right? And then C-suite asks like, "Wait, what happened that this happened?" Right? And they might ask about something you're like, "Oh shit, like I didn't even like
I didn't prepare.
I didn't think this was an important thing." So like they're like, "Can you come back to us and tell us why?" Right? Like so you're like, "Oh, so now I need to go look right at it and think about it." What if there was a way to just like for them to like ask AI and based on like everything that you've been tracking, right? They can get an answer maybe like there and then, right? If they ask it with you there, and then they can be like, "Oh, okay, so like like AI can think about it for you instead of you like struggling or like rushing after that to pull numbers together and calculate and all that, and maybe not even be looking at the right thing because you're just panicked, that they're
Mhm.
asking you something they didn't even look at. But then AI can look at that for you because it can just look at many different things probably at the same time, maybe at the rate we're going with how advanced AI is going. You think there's a
Yeah.
that's kind of where it's going
That,
to. I feel like that could be a really useful thing.
that's a really good point because a
Yeah.
lot of those reports a snapshot in time, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I know in a week I need to present my numbers and I'm going to put these in slideshows, and those are just copy and pasted static numbers. Or like if you're advanced, maybe you can embed a link to like Smartsheet or something that at least live calculates if you open up that window
Mhm, mhm.
during the presentation, but it still doesn't tell you why,
Yeah, and they're
right?
gonna ask why for
Yeah.
something that might not even be what you were tracking, and you're like, "Now I gotta historically look at everything and look at it in different ways."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, what if you can ask that like question right during the meeting instead of like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let me pull together something in a week, because that's like a massive waste of time for everyone.
Right, and maybe you could have, like, actually been working with more clients or grow like, do it working on more, like, high priority items than trying to explain to management this very specific thing that they're looking at. They could just get an answer for that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also a risk for executives because they should have access to the latest information, insights, what's going on wrong. Maybe they should even get daily email crafted by AI.
Yeah, that gives them the summary of what exactly they need to know in the business because they don't need to know every little thing that you do, right? But they probably have these big questions that you may or may not be prepared to answer, like, at the drop of
Hmm.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where I see a lot of maybe the services, at least in my industry, the
Mm.
consulting, software design strategy services we offer. I see industry shifting towards how can AI help answer.
Yeah.
I would say it's still like a 95% human coming in and designing some solution, and only 5% is like a cherry on top AI at it. But I assume the ratio is gonna start to change
Mhm, mhm.
where like 20% is now AI, 50% is now AI. I'm thinking it will still take 5 to 10 years for that transition to happen and
Mhm.
for businesses to feel comfortable
Mhm.
replacing the spreadsheets that they're used to look at to now you're trusting AI, and AI is good enough that like, oh, I don't even need evidence of where the number's coming from. I just
Or
trust
but I
it.
guess, like, if you even wanted to just ask AI, they can still show you the receipts as
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
spreadsheets,
you
like, it can
can.
still
Yep.
show you, like,
Yep.
to verify. I think that's completely fine, but
Yep.
then you don't have to manually dig around
Yep.
to prove that.
And to set it up, there's
Yeah.
still like quite an effort involved where you do need to involve like the technical expert to come in
Okay.
and set all that up so that AI is fed enough information. AI knows where to get the data, how to present the
Mm.
receipt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be out of box SaaS application that you can just subscribe. Maybe it's already built into Microsoft AI
Uh,
Studio, or it might be a custom, like a bespoke application
mhm.
because somehow like the system doesn't work well together in the cloud and you have to put something together that's more custom, accessing some private data that they don't want to integrate with any other cloud services. Whatever it is, it will still take a lot of engineering hours to get there.
Mhm, mhm.
But now you're going to shift the budget towards building massive dashboard, like 20 dashboards that people are like, okay, now we have 20 dashboards to look at. To okay, there's one dashboard and then there's AI and the
Yeah,
rest
yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. To kinda replace or pull together all those 19
yeah,
other ones.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So I think that's a future we're looking at, and I'll be happy to help anybody who has a question about it in the comment section down below. Like if there's something that you see or you resonate, I think a lot of people resonate with like there are too many dashboards, there are too
Yeah.
many numbers. Like
And some people just don't even wanna deal with numbers as much as
yeah,
possible, like me.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the most exciting part of your
Yeah.
day to day, and a lot of people in the process of these dashboard things that I work with, even before AI, people will just ask like, okay, so what do I need to do to improve number? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
they don't want to spend 4 hours strategizing on their own. They just want to be told like, okay, so what do I need to do?
Yeah, what I wanna do or they just want an answer to their own, um, challenge that maybe you don't necessarily know that much about or is not something that's important to you or big to you, but it is big to them and that they can get their own answer, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So yeah, hopefully this was really helpful. And if you're interested in these type of subject, like we can even go deeper into how AI is going to affect our day-to-day life and maybe even force a change in behavior from saying, oh, let's create another dashboard, let's get into another smart spreadsheet into, hey, maybe AI can do this.
Mhm.
And I have better understanding of AI's capability, and maybe we should spend our budget more in there instead of traditional solutions that they
Mhm.
may have relied on in the past. And but yeah, I'll be happy to have a conversation in comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you get content like this. And we'll see you again next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.